Whether you're conquering professional exams or personal milestones, we welcome you to Beyond Clean's Confidence Certification, the 52-week test prep podcast series. With expert insights, actionable tips, and engaging discussions, we'll break down the toughest concepts in sterile processing and build your confidence every step of the way. Join host Sarah B. Cruz as she embarks on a mission to help you not just prep for tests, but craft your success story. And now your host, Sarah B. Cruz.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to Confidence Certification, a 52-week test prep podcast series to equip you to take your sterile processing career to the next level. I'm your host, Sarah B. Cruz, and on this episode, we will be continuing the discussion of the actual test day and its events. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the part 2 episode that breaks down the actual test day events. If you didn't get a chance to hear part 1, go back to episode 30, because in that episode, I actually discuss the test site, things you need to have prepared ahead of time, the check-in process. It's really just the whole process before you even get in the room and sit to take your test. That's right, folks. We have to make sure that you understand how to use the testing program or platform to even demonstrate all the studying you've been doing about sterile processing, okay? So today we're actually going to be discussing the actual exam platform itself. I have been told this is one of my course's most valued lessons by some of my previous students at the local community college where I teach. They love it, and it always gets the best reviews after I send out the please review my class paperwork at the end. Some of them are really harsh, but honestly, this topic performs really well with the students. I can't imagine why they wouldn't pick decon. I digress. So keep in mind that I do not work for your test site. I do not represent the company. And at the time of this recording, the information I am giving you is relevant. If you are listening to this podcast 10 years later, wow, thank you. But make sure you check in because it might be a little out of date. Your girl might be a little out of date here, okay? So when you get to your test site, you've checked in, the moderator has taken you to your computer, you're sitting down, maybe you're putting on your noise-canceling headphones. I like to wear the noise-canceling headphones because it kind of helps me not hear the hum of pending doom around me. But anyways, when you sit at the computer, this is how you will be taking your test. Long gone are the days of separate question and answer bubble sheets. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's because I am old, apparently. And we're just going to pretend that you didn't hear that statement and it didn't happen. Listen, I am sure that they still have pencil bubble sheets out there in some capacity for SATs or your standardized testing, but you will not find them for your exam in this test room. Instead, you're going to find the computer waiting for you. And as you approach it with your optional paper and pencil or your dry erase board, you may feel intimidated. Maybe you're psyching yourself out, or maybe you're just not very comfortable with technology. That's why I wanted to go over the fact that you are going to be using a computer and discuss the platform and the programming with you today to try and really break that anxiety and that walk-up tension down. So when you sit down, the computer will have you confirm that it is indeed you and what test you are taking. So make sure the test is listed correctly and that all your information is correct, especially your spelling. Okay, because if you go to try and look up your exam results or for some reason you didn't get them and something is spelled wrong, they won't be able to find you in their database. Remember, this company hosts tons of tests and certifications outside of sterile processing. So just take that few moments to really confirm that, 1, you're taking the right test. Don't want the real estate one to pop up. And 2, your information is correct. Yeah. So then we're going to discuss the program itself and the different features it offers. But first, let's take a short break and hear a word from our sponsor. It's time for our mid-episode confidence boost, where we focus on a key sterile processing test concept. Now, there's no guarantee these concepts will be on the test that you take, but these are key concepts to the workplace and are discussed in the literature. Today, we'll cover homeostasis, a state of equilibrium in which the internal environment of the body remains relatively constant. Conditions within a cell must remain stable to achieve and maintain homeostasis. Cells are the fundamental units of life, the smallest structure of the body, and perform all the processes needed for life. A cell must have water. For metabolic purposes, it provides an environment for processes to take place. Water also transports substances and helps regulate body temperature. Food provides necessary nutrients. An energy source helps to build new cells and are vital to the chemical reactions. Oxygen releases energy from the nutrients, and the energy drives the metabolic processes. Heat is the byproduct of the metabolic reaction. The higher the heat, the more rapid the chemical reaction. And pressure, application of force that also plays a significant role in breathing. That's going to wrap this week's mid-session confidence boost. Good luck. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. If you are just tuning into this episode, please restart the episode. You know what? Do yourself the favor and go back an entire episode to episode 30, because this is a two-part series where we're talking about the actual day of our test. So this episode, we're talking about the testing program that you're going to be using to actually demonstrate all the studying and why you've been listening to this podcast. Before you can even demonstrate how much you know about sterile processing, let's make sure you know how to use the program, okay? I personally hate learning things in the moment, especially the moments before I have to use them, because it really messes with my confidence and it can honestly put a big damper on my motivation and the momentum I'm feeling. You know, imagine you've got that I'm the best strut up to this computer and you sit down only to see this whole program. You're like, I have no idea what's going on. Okay. So let's prevent that. So some of the features you're going to see for your test is a previous and next button. They let you move forward or back through the questions. You do not have to answer the questions to move on from it or go back to a previous question. This could be an excellent resource. I personally don't spend too much time on the answers I don't know right away because it psychs me out. So the ability to be able to move on from a question after the 30 seconds to 45 seconds I give myself to dwell on it initially, I just can keep it moving. So I can move forward and go back to it at a later time. I'll typically go through the tests and answer the ones that I know immediately right away. So that previous and next button get used a lot when I take my tests. Now, if you don't know the answer to the question, you might want to flag it. So you have the option to flag a question, and that's going to help you remember to go back to it. So on one side of your screen, you'll see the breakdown of the numbers on your test, how many questions there are, and whether you wrote an answer or if it's flagged. Okay. So remember to go back and answer your flagged questions. I also like to use the flag feature when I've answered questions because maybe I wasn't feeling too confident. In a previous episode, we talked a lot about educated guesses or using the process of elimination to create a 50% chance of getting the answer right. So if I've selected an answer and I'm not really feeling too good about it and I want to go back to it later, I'll also flag that question. There is a highlighter feature. This is my favorite tool, hands down, because sometimes the questions on the test can be really overwhelming. Whether it's because they're too long or wordy, the highlighter can really help with that. I highlight key words in the question so I can stay better focused on the answer. So the highlighter is literally just a little tool. You pick the words you want to focus on, you highlight them, and then your eyes go directly to the things you need to know, personally, for you to answer the question effectively. It'll show you some features you will not need, like the calculator and how to type in an answer. All the test questions are multiple choice at the time of this recording. And then there's the submit and finish feature. This has its own key. do not press it until you are ready to submit and finish, because once your test is in, it's in. So much so that you'll press this button and a little thing will pop up and say, "Are you sure?" I wish it had that feature when I went to exit a document and it's like, "Did you save?" No, I did not save. And I've had to retype this 3 times. No, but fortunately for us, the test really makes sure we want to submit and finish. But, just make sure you're paying attention and you genuinely want to do so, because once it's in, it's in. All right. So now when you want to leave, you have to be escorted by the test moderator. They'll go over this information with you when you are checking in. They'll even tell you how to go to the bathroom. If you want to hear that awesome saga, go back to episode 30. But you can't just stand up and go. Yeah. So depending on the test site, you may be able to get your pass-fail results before you leave the facility. I can't guarantee this for every type of test you're making because I'm not involved with the test company or the creations of the test. So I can't tell you. But sometimes you'll be able to know, and the test moderators will be able to tell you if you've passed or failed. Regardless, the results will be mailed to you or emailed to you depending on the sign-up process. Yeah. And then keep in mind that if your pass-fail is too close, they won't be able to give you an answer either, and you'll have to wait for that mailed or emailed response. Now, as we begin to wrap this episode, I want to give you all some homework. I know you're like, "Sarah, we're already taking tests. The time for homework is dead." But hear me out. I want you all to write down what you are most anxious about when taking a test at the test site. If you've listened to episode 30 and you've just heard about the program today in episode 31, I really need you to sit and see how you feel about the information I just shared with you, because it can be overwhelming. And the main goal of these episodes was to make sure that you felt prepared so that it eased anxieties and that your confidence wasn't broken. Okay? So when I was reviewing any of these steps, did any of them take you by surprise? And if so, those are your key indicators of where you should start to find out more information so that you can feel better equipped the day you go in. Because you've been studying for a long time. If you've been hanging out with me this entire podcast series, whether it's one day because you're binging it, or if it's every week they come out, we've been spending a significant amount of time preparing for this day. Let's not let it go and be for nothing because of easy things we could have prevented just through knowledge and being aware. All right, everybody, I'll see you all next week where we start talking about the personal and environmental limitations we may experience in taking a test. Talk to you soon. And that's going to do it for this week's episode. For more sterile processing education and resources, make sure to visit beyondclean.net or follow Beyond Clean on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to check out over 1,000 SPD-related videos at youtube.com/beyondclean. If you have any questions or comments for the show, you can reach out to info@beyondclean.net. Finally, make sure to download the Beyond Clean mobile app on the Apple and Android app stores so that you don't miss a future episode of any of the other awesome Beyond Clean podcasts. My name's Sarah B. Cruz, and you've been listening to Confidence Certification. Until next time, keep fighting dirty and pass that test with confidence.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast series are of Sarah B. Cruz only and do not represent the companies she works for or collaborates with.